Hi, level 5 and 6. I'm sending you this email because I just wanted to talk to you or with you a little bit more about some of the things we're doing as a department. So, first of all, we're looking at new ways of communicating with you and engaging with you. And one of them is to try and do these videos and ask you to respond in some way. So, hopefully, we're going to do them about 3 times a semester, but we really enjoy or would welcome your participation and response with them. So we're also looking to increase our partnership working with you and our wider partners and your engagement in some of these processes. One of the ways we're doing this is that we've introduced a partnership meeting, which will happen 3 times a year. At the meeting, there will be employers from across the different counties we work with, the different organisations, and different people with lived experience. And the idea is to look at ways that we can develop the programme to improve social work in the area, and also that we can work with our partners to improve issues that are important to them and social work as they experience it. So at the moment, we're really struggling to get students on board with this, but we would love your participation. It's a real opportunity to get to know some of the things that drive social work in the area, and particularly some of the things that are important in some of the local authorities and third sector organisations. So please do let me know if you're interested in being involved in this. A couple of things that we're working on at the moment through these groups is, first of all, looking to explore decolonisation and what that means through the different organisations and their experiences. We're also looking to have a better alignment between our expectations of what students are expected to do on placements and the expectations of organisations and where students should be towards the end of their placement. So you can see how it's really important to have your experience and input on these issues. We're also working quite closely with the placement team to try and improve our communication, our strategic goals, and the values that drive us, how we see social work developing in our area, and how we can jointly contribute to that. So again, your experience of the placement team and our relationship with them would be really helpful and valuable. So if you have anything to share, please do get in contact with me and we can bring that to the meeting. Or if you would like to represent the student group at the meeting, again, please do get in contact with me. So finally, I just wanted to share with you some of the discussions and learning we're having as a social work lecture team to give you an insight into how we engage with your experiences and where these lead us to. So one of the things we're noticing is the kind of transition where we're going from the experience of the COVID pandemic back to what the new kind of sense of normal is at working, and how that's impacting upon students as they're coming into placements. So some of the things about that is that we're having to re-engage with relationships face to face or in groups, or just re-establish those relationships. And some of the challenges this faces kind of go to the heart of social work. So at the heart of social work is engaging with relationships, groups, and meetings where we have to face things and have discussions that make us uncomfortable or even distressed. So a core skill is being able to stay with those experiences and engage in these relationships in an open way. And I think this is even more challenging at the moment when we're coming out of COVID, when we're coming out of a situation where we've been living our relationships in a very different way. So as a social work team, we've been discussing how we can support students to do this, and indeed how we can increase our abilities around there. And there's something about identifying your feelings, staying with your feelings, understanding your feelings, but engaging in the relationships and engaging in reactions anyway, because you're aware of the value that drives you and you're aware of the value and openness you have towards these relationships. So again, please do talk to us and share your experiences around there, share what's helped you learn and what hasn't helped you learn in these ways. And likewise, we've also been discussing the role of forgiveness in social work. It's not something that we always talk about, and forgiveness itself is not something that's always easy to give, talk about, or arrive at, particularly when someone has been significantly wronged or hurt. It is also intimately tied to our experience, desire, and understanding for justice. There's a really interesting documentary by Hamza where he looks at his difficult journey with forgiveness. In particular, the links he makes to it with justice and finding justice for one of the family members that he cared quite deeply about. I've shared a link to this in the message below, and I'd really encourage you to engage with it. At the same time, forgiveness is something that can have a liberating and hopeful effect for people. It can bring hope into people's lives. Although it is a difficult journey, it's very much linked to ideas of restorative justice. We all experience it in the context of our own histories and traditions. In my tradition and experience, it's a very profound way in which I know that the infinite marks the finiteness of my life, the limitedness, the human embodiment of my lived experience, and opens it up to the future, to new possibilities. It enables me to experience life as a gift and gives me a confidence or a hope that all experiences, including those difficult and those involving suffering, can be transformed. It can bring us back to the importance of relationships over status and ideas about ourselves or others' ideas about ourselves. It can ground us, if you like. So, for example, in my own life, my daughter became very unwell, and I became very angry towards life and God about how this could happen. It's kind of a strange thing to say, but I found I needed to forgive to fully be there for her and open to her in the future. I think if we look at some of the wider things that have been said about forgiveness by some of the great figures of history, and again, please share yours, share the ones that have inspired you. If we look to Martin Luther King Jr., who said that forgiveness does not mean ignoring what has been done or putting a false label or an evil act. It means rather that the evil act no longer remains as a barrier to the relationship. I think I'll say that again because I certainly didn't do the beauty of his words credit. So, forgiveness does not mean ignoring what has been done or putting a false label on an evil act. It means rather that the evil act no longer remains as a barrier to the relationship. Or Nelson Mandela, when he said, forgiveness liberates the soul. It removes fear. That's why it is such a powerful weapon. So it would be a real honour to kind of share your thoughts, traditions, and stories around forgiveness and how you perceive them having a link to social work practice. So we realise that this is a really sensitive and difficult area, and don't ask you to share any more than you want to, even if it's just your ideas or your thoughts about forgiveness, or a particular phrase or saying or experience in social work or restorative social work that spoke to you. Please do share them on the Padlet below this message. Okay, so thanks very much for watching and listening to this video, and I kind of appreciate you engaging with it and sharing your own thoughts and your learning so that we can develop ourselves as a learning community, not just within our own year groups either, but across the social work programs we teach. Thank you.